What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I've got an insane story time that was sent in to me about this guy who was trying to just enjoy a walk with his dog, and this Karen started freaking out and demanding that she be allowed to buy his dog off of him. Yeah, believe it or not, most people are not very cool with the idea of selling their dog to a stranger. I thought it was an insane story time you guys would enjoy, so without further ado, let's hop right into it. Alright, so this guy was pretty busy during the week with work and whatnot, so whenever he had a day off, he would take his dog to the park and take it on a long walk. He has a cute little Pomeranian, which I have to say those dogs are particularly adorable. They just look like a little fluff ball, you know? And whenever he's walking his dog, it's not unusual for people to be like, "Oh, it's such a cute dog, he's pretty used to it." Not that it happens all the time, but it's not unusual for someone to say that to his dog. And so whenever he walks past somebody when he's walking his dog and he says something or he sees them say something, he just smiles and says thank you because he assumes it's saying that your dog's cute because he's listening to stuff in his headphones whenever he's walking. But whatever, on this particular day, he's at the park and he's just listening to a podcast, minding his own business, trying to kind of turn off his brain, if anything, not think at all. And he's kind of starting to get into the zone and stop thinking about everything focused on the podcast when he hears what sounds like yelling over it. And so he looks at it just to make sure it's not an episode that might have something in it that would be yelling. And he realizes it's not from the show. So he starts to look around as you do whenever someone just starts screaming and you're hearing something that you're not supposed to be hearing. And when he looks up, he sees a lady approaching and he just sees that she's saying something to his dog. And he looks down at his dog, and his dog usually loved attention and would be like, "Yeah, I'm cute, come pet me." You know, it really enjoyed strangers telling it was cute. You know, dogs just love being complimented when someone goes, "Oh, what a cute baby." They really enjoy that. But this time, the dog seemed a little bit scared. It was almost like trying to hide behind him. So he decides to take out his headphones to hear what the lady is saying. And when he takes out his headphones, he's very confused because the lady is like, "How much for your dog? How much for your dog?" And he doesn't understand the question because that's not how dogs work. You don't just walk up to people walking their dog and start trying to negotiate and buy it. So he just kind of looks at her confused and says, "Not for sale. My dog's not for sale." And the lady, instead of taking no for an answer and backing away and realizing it's really weird to walk up to somebody and ask to buy their dog, starts going off about how everything has a price and he just needs to stop being stingy and say the price because she's got a lot of money and she'll pay whatever for the dog. And listen, I don't think it was about the money. I don't know what this guy said no for, but personally, I would not sell my dog at all. The dogs are so loyal to you, you know. I've raised my puppy. My puppy knows that I am its dad, basically. He doesn't go to work. He doesn't think about video games. He's just "Man, that's my dad." You can't sell a dog to somebody after you've raised it. I mean, technically you can, but that just seems kind of cold to raise a dog for years and years and then just turn around and sell it. Dogs aren't something that kind of have a price on it. I mean, if you're going to buy a puppy, yeah, but that's very different than buying an adult dog off someone that they've had time to bond with. That's just crazy. And so he reaffirms that "No, I'm not going to sell you my dog. It's not a money issue. It doesn't matter. It's just my dog and I'm not going to sell it to you." And Karen at that moment starts to get offended, almost like she should take personal offense to this guy not wanting to just hand over his dog to a stranger for some weird amount of money that he literally just met. It's not like this is someone he knows who's in a situation where they need a dog and the dog really likes him or whatever. Even that would be weird. 10 seconds ago, he's walking the dog at the park, and now this lady's like, "You need to sell me your dog." But she takes offense and starts talking to him about, "Well, why don't you want to sell me your dog, huh? Do you not trust me? What, do I look sketchy? Do I not look like the person that can take care of a dog?" It's just going right over her head. It has nothing to do with you, but yeah, I don't trust you. I don't trust people that just walk up to me at the park and start asking me questions. He doesn't know you at all. This is a stranger walking up to you and then trying to make you feel bad for not trusting them. It's oh, Man, don't you remember how far back we go? 25 seconds ago when we started this conversation. I can't believe you don't trust me after communicating for that long. And even then, if he did trust you, he probably does not want to sell you his dog. Even if my parents, man, were like, hey, can I buy your dog? I would still say no, because it's my dog. I don't want to sell it to anyone. Even if you trust someone, he doesn't have to sell you the dog. But whatever, at that point, he's just very weirded out by this conversation, so he decides to pick up the dog and just start walking away. And so, as he goes to pick up the dog, he feels like a movement, and he looks up, and she's lunging towards the dog. So he picks it up quickly and takes a step back, and he tells her in some very not nice terms that I can't say if I want this video to be monetized, to take a hike, the dog's not for sale, and if she keeps trying to grab for it, he's gonna call the police. And she just starts getting really mad, saying that she just wants a cute dog like his, and it's her fault that she's not going to be happy. Oh man, is he supposed to feel really guilty about that? I love when I get customer support stories where the customer starts trying to make you feel bad. Like, if you don't sell me this thing that's not in stock, you're gonna ruin my kid's birthday. Oh yeah, it's my fault. The stranger who has nothing to do with anything, I'm getting blamed for ruining your birthday. And even then, if him not selling his dog to an absolute stranger, ruins your day, then yeah, I guess your day is ruined. It doesn't mean that you're entitled to just take people's stuff, especially their pet. Hey man, you need to sell me this iguana for free, otherwise I'll be really sad. The person's not gonna do it. They probably don't want to sell their iguana in the first place. It doesn't matter how much it annoys you or how much it ruins your day. You can't just expect people to give you stuff. But whatever, he's literally trying to ignore her. He has his dog in his hand, and now he's just walking away. And he's literally not listening to anything she's saying. He just hears screaming, when someone's just so mad that they're just like, you're ruining my life. You really are taking away my happiness by not letting me buy your dog. And he just doesn't care. It's not fazing him, so he's just kind of trying to block it out using the power of the brain to block out the audio. But as he's walking away, he feels something on his arm, and he looks down and he sees that her hand is grabbing him on his arm and trying to turn him around. So he turns around and looks, and she's 6 inches away from him. She's basically in his face, and she screams, "Let me buy your dog!" But she's so close that as she's screaming, "Let me buy your dog," he's in the splash zone from SeaWorld. He's just getting wet as her spit kind of flies into his face. And he realizes that oh, this lady's really nuts. Not only is she gonna come up and try to buy my dog on the spot, but even if I just try to walk away, she's gonna grab me, scream at me, make a giant scene in the middle of the park. So he realizes, I gotta get out of there. So with his dog in his hand, he literally starts running away from this lady in the park. And I feel like that should have probably been the wake-up point for Karen. If you get somebody in a park to literally start running away from you, don't chase them. They don't want to be near you. But sure enough, Karen starts running after him. And I can't imagine how stressful that is, dude. You're just trying to walk your dog. Next thing you know, a Karen is literally in a foot pursuit with you, like she's on the first season of Cops. You're just trying to get away and protect your dog. She's chasing after you, screaming at you, but that's what's going on. So he's running away, and he's very much faster than the Karen. It's not like it's hard to be older than anyone in middle age. No offense to anyone middle age watching this. You guys have just kind of lost your quickness. So he gets to the car, puts his dog in the passenger seat, turns on the car, and goes to leave. And as he goes to leave, Karen runs behind the car and starts banging on the windshield. And it's to the point where the brake light from the back of his car is illuminating her face, and she just straight up is starting to look like a demon, just angrily screaming with this red lighting, making her look like a Sith Lord. So as she's banging on the back window, he grabs his phone, and it's probably obvious that he's gonna call the cops. And as soon as he picks up the phone and says, "I'm gonna call the cops," she stops. She completely drops all the anger, everything, and just walks away. It was as soon as she might actually have to explain what was going on and he threatened to call someone, she was like, "Oh, okay, never mind," and just dropped it and literally ran away. He wasn't going to take any chances, though. He didn't want her to come back. So as soon as she ran away, he put the car in reverse and just tried to get out of there as fast as humanly possible and protect his dog. And like after that, he started looking around on Facebook and like Googling his area and Crazy Lady. And there were some stories on social media about people that had been at that park and been approached by some lady who started screaming at them and like demanding that they sell him the dog. So apparently this is this lady's regular hobby. This is just what she gets up to on a weekly basis. You know, instead of book club or something to fill the time, she's just like, I'm going to go scream at people until someone sells me their dog. Chasing after the car, banging on the back like window while having a brake light illuminating your face, that's crazy though. That just seems like something out of a horror movie, man. People don't want to sell their dogs. I would be a little bit weirded out if like I knew a guy and he had raised this dog, he had this dog for years and all of a sudden it was gone. Like, oh, what happened? Instead of, you know, something bad happening, like not in a bad way, but like you expect someone to have a dog until it passes on. If he was like, oh man, I sold it, I made such a fat profit, I would be like, wait, what? What? You sold your dog? Like that would probably freak me out. So whatever, he doesn't go to that park anymore, probably for the best, but I don't know. Be on the lookout. If you walk your dog in the park, there might be someone crazy coming around trying to buy it. But I did get another story sent into me this week that's kind of related, kind of not. It's not as long as that one, but I still thought it was funny. It's probably not long enough for its own video, so I'm just going to put them together. So this guy had lived in this condo complex for a really long time, and it was really quiet, like 99% of the time. Very rarely did his neighbors throw any parties. Very rarely did anything go on. He's the youngest guy in this complex by basically a good like 15 years. But one day he's at home trying to have a Zoom meeting with his boss, and there's all this like ruckus outside. And it sounds like it's coming from right outside his window, and he happened to like overlook the courtyard from the bottom floor, and he looks out and he sees two middle-aged men like wrestling on the grass, fighting each other. And that's not something that's normal to look out your window and see. So he starts kind of analyzing what's going on, and like, you know when someone's just very clearly like 35, you know, nothing wrong with that. We're all going to get old. Everybody's going to be 35 at some point. But they kind of get out of breath a little bit easier. They're like definitely almost too tired to be fighting still, but they're wrestling on the ground. And he starts looking around, and there's a huge crowd of people from the complex that are just kind of sitting there watching it. And they're yelling like, let's go, almost like a fight in a school lunchroom. And he goes outside to break it up because it's been going on for a while. And when he gets out there and opens the door, he hears them like yelling threats at each other, almost like they're talking crap to each other in Xbox live chat, you know, like, bro, I'm gonna come to your house, I'm gonna fight you, man. I'm gonna kick in your front door, and then I'm gonna kick in your teeth, bro. Like, for real. They're just threatening each other. And he goes over there and he breaks them up. And it's not very hard to break them apart. It was like, both of them didn't want to fight anymore, you know, but they didn't want to be the person that gave up and said, okay, I'm done fighting, I don't want to fight anymore. So as soon as somebody introduced themselves to break them up, they were like, all right, man, yeah, we're done. And so they're super tired. They're both like slumped up against the building, out of breath. And he goes to him and he's like, what is going on, guys? I'm trying to be on a work call. I look outside. You guys are fighting. They were roommates and they got along. He's like, what's going on? And they said that they had got a puppy because they just wanted something like around the house. And he's like, okay, that should be a good thing. But they couldn't agree what to name it. So they started fighting each other. Which, you know, I feel like there's some things that might get so heated you have to fight, but naming a pet really shouldn't be one of them. That seems a little bit crazy, and especially over just wanting different names. You could compromise. If you both hate the other person's name, then you got to come up with a third name. It doesn't seem like it was that difficult. You didn't have to end up wrestling each other in the middle of like the condo courtyard. So they asked them what the names are because he's curious. And if they're going to fight over it, you'd think these would be the greatest dog names of all time. You think these guys would just be like two artists almost. Their passion is giving dogs great names that they could be proud of. Like you would think that's how they would be acting. And that's how they were acting. So you would think these names are like incredible pieces of art. You want to know the names that they were literally fighting over, ladies and gentlemen? They were fighting over whether they should name the dog Dog or name the dog Cat. They had gotten into a literal fight over those two names, which, listen, I think are fine names for a pet. I think it'd be funny to have a dog named Dog, and I think it's funny to have a dog named Cat. They both work. I just think it's not worth violence, you know? I just think having a puppy should be a fun thing. It shouldn't be something that makes you literally go beat up the person that you live with. And they're both pretty similar. Like, they're very similar. I know technically they're the exact opposite, but if you're going to name a dog something like funny like that, those are kind of your two options. It's very obvious. And so after that, he kind of looks at him and he's like, you guys really fought over that? And they laughed and admitted that it was kind of stupid and they probably just shouldn't have fought over it at all. So he thinks his work there is done and he goes back in and tries to get back on the call. And that day, ladies and gentlemen, they ended up getting into 3 more fights out in that courtyard over naming the dog dog or naming the dog cat, which the first time is already dumb, but whatever. Sometimes people fight over stupid things. You get emotional over something dumb. It happens. Maybe you're a little hangry. You're not you and you're hungry. But 3 times, that's 4 fights overall. You're going to fight over this dog's name 4 times. And after fighting 4 times, they didn't even want to be roommates anymore. So one of them ended up having to find someone to sublet his lease, which is a complicated process. So basically, this dog, instead of giving them something to become better friends over, literally made their life just so much worse. And what's silly is if you wanted an easy compromise, you could have just named it Cat Dog. There's an entire television series about something named that. That would have been hilarious. And they were cool with it. They didn't like each other, but it's not like they hated their name so much that they couldn't bear with it. And if the person in the show could deal with it, then you guys could have dealt with it too. Anyways, guys, I know this video is a little shorter. I just thought these 2 stories were funny. I've been having a lot of fun with the videos lately. I don't know if y'all can tell. So if you do, be sure to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below and subscribe if you're new. And if you want to listen to these, but you'd rather listen to the audio, I do post the audio over on Spotify. I'll put a link to that down below in the description. Feel free to check it out. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.